Welcome to E20.
I've never found a love like this. There it is. I've never found a love like this.
Good evening, everybody. I'm sorry to disappoint you for those already in the chat waiting for James Fever to appear, but he has transformed into me after 32. Tom tonight, the better looking version, some may say, of James Fever, who is away this evening. So we are, between the three of us, between myself, Lucas and Alfie, West Ham Online, are doing the Manchester United preview for tomorrow night in the FA Cup. Boys, how are we doing this evening?
Very good.
I am fantastic, and I'm sorry for letting the chat down that we are not here tonight, but we're gonna roll with it anyway, like good boys do.
We are gonna roll with it like good boys do, and we'll do you proud, James. I promise you, we will do you proud. Anyway, first off, let's talk about Manchester United just coming off of a win this weekend in the Carabao Cup. Alfie, are you surprised at the turnaround that they've had under Ten Hag since Ronaldo left, or is it just you expected getting rid of that bad apple that they were going to be what they are now?
I'm not surprised, no. I think I kind of called it. I'm not going to lie. Ronaldo, I did think was becoming a bit of an infectious disease in the dressing room. It was clear that he thought he was at the level he once was, which he wasn't. And he had the ego of you know what. But in the past, he could back it because he was scoring about 50 goals a season, and he's just not that type of player anymore because he's 38. So, yeah, they needed to get rid of him, and they brought out Weghorst in, who, although he hasn't scored, has been brilliant for the dressing room and for the team. And Ten Hag is a superb manager, so I expected him to do well at United. So far, he's done very well. Third in the league, won a trophy already, and I expect it to continue.
Yeah, as people are pointing out in the comment section, apparently some things happened at the weekend. I was not privy to that, so I apologise already. If Alfie was banned from the channel, I don't know. It was my show tonight that I was helping James run for, so in my eyes, seeing as I didn't watch the show, he's here tonight, so he can piss everybody off. That's fine. Anyway, Lucas, talk to me about Marcus Rashford. He is a player reborn this season under Ten Hag. How surprised are you that he has come back from probably arguably the worst season of his career, that he's now just literally banging goals in every single week? Without him, United would be screwed at the moment.
It's frustrating because I really hate United, and seeing any of their players do well really just makes me a bit sick to my stomach, to be quite honest with you. And I was quite jealous when Ten Hag took the job, because I actually do rate him very highly, and I think he's a good manager. So it does hurt. It hurts when they win, but deep down inside, I am kind of happy for Ten Hag, because he has, I won't say he's completely turned the culture around, but he's definitely on the way to doing it. And like Alfie said, I loved him even more when he just kind of alphaed Ronaldo and just told him really to get out. And
well, that's the thing,
Rashford,
isn't it?
he's on. Yeah, Marcus
Go on,
Rashford,
you finish.
He's on an absolute tear. Makes me sick. His celebration, I still don't get it, but I'm not triggered by it. It is a bit annoying though. But yeah, I just want to know what he's thinking when he does that. Is he like thinking of his next meal? Is he thinking what he's gonna have for breakfast the next morning after the match? I don't know.
I'll tell you what he's thinking of. He's thinking about how he's going to help those kids, because that's all he's doing. He's just helping the kids. That's what he's thinking of. That was awful. I'm surprised.
I'm just going to keep it here for a few minutes.
You can keep it there for a few minutes. But yeah, I think that was the big thing for me, was the fact that we were linked with him after the bad season that he'd had. And fans were almost a bit turned off by having, Marcus Rashford at the club. I don't know, because he'd gone through such a downturn. People were worried that he would be a flop for such a high amount of money for wages. But all of a sudden, you remove Cristiano Ronaldo from the equation and you make him the focal point of the team. Yes, he's still young enough. I guess he's not still in that sort of wonder kid category anymore. But he has all of a sudden excelled into just this absolute machine. Probably one of the top 5 players currently, I'd say, in world football on form. He's been absolutely exceptional. Does he worry you? Is he Monday's or tomorrow's main threat for you, West Ham Online? Is it him? Are you more worried about the midfield, Casemiro potentially having to deal with Declan Rice, etc.? or is it United as a whole, or is there one area that you think that's what we need to watch out for?
I think United are brilliant defensively, and then obviously Rashford has been excellent for them. But I think a big reason actually as to why Rashford has been so good is because they haven't quite played the Ten Hag way yet. And that's going to sound weird, but Rashford's a brilliant footballer, and when Man United start to become used to the Ten Hag way, they'll get even better. But with David De Gea in goal, who is so crap on the ball, United have actually had to play a lot of long balls. I was at the game the other day, the Carabao Cup final, and I actually thought United played really poorly for a Ten Hag team. But Rashford's so good on the counter attack, and with United not being able to keep the ball at times because of players like De Gea, Rashford has had so much joy on the counter attack. He's a brilliant player no matter what, don't get me wrong. He scored great goals, not on the counter attack, for example, against Arsenal, against us, that header. And I would say that he's probably the biggest threat in the game tomorrow.
Last thing on Man United, because we don't want to sit here and wax lyrical about them, because every single year it seems at this point we draw Man United once in the cup. I think it's 3 of the last 4 years. But do you think that will be a chance to? I don't want to say that obviously that they're going for the quadruple, but they're still in all 4 competitions, or they won one of the 4 competitions. They're still in 3 of them. Do you think they'll go full strength again tomorrow, Lucas, or is it maybe a chance for them to maybe rest and rotate some of their, I say, lesser players in, but still quality players that maybe haven't got minutes?
I was talking about this the other day. I can't remember who I was talking. It might have been with Fever. I can't remember, but it was someone. But you would have to think so. There's no shot they're gonna play. I say no shot, but when you think of like their key guys, you got Casemiro, Rashford, obviously, Weghorst. Not key, but I mean he's played so many. Weghorst has played more minutes this season in a United kit than Anthony Martial has, which is hilarious. But Martinez, De Gea, I can't see them playing a strong lineup. This would be their 3rd game in 8 days. That'd be kind of insane if they did field a very strong 11 again. But even if they did, because of that, I would give us a bit of an edge, just because I think we are a bit more rested in all depths. But it's tricky. It's tricky tomorrow because I can definitely see Casemiro playing, because he's just one of those guys. Like, he'll play whenever, no rest. I think Rashford will start on the bench and then come in if need be.
Yeah.
I don't think De Gea might play just because he's goalkeeper. Don't really need that much rest, but it's interesting because Martial is still. I don't know if he's still hurt or not, but he always pops up with an injury here and there. But it's hard to predict. But if I had to put money on it, I would say they're going to field a pretty.
Yeah.
Mostly backups, I'd say.
Yeah. And the same to you, Alfie, as well. What do you reckon? Full strength Man United team, or are they going to look to rest a few players ahead of the weekend?
A bit of a fact for you. Well, it's not exactly a fact in terms of statistic, but it's a fact in terms of the fact that it's backed up. Ten Hag does not rotate. In his time at Ajax, he didn't really rotate. At Man United so far, he didn't really rotate. Eriksen was playing way too much, which is why he started to decline in form. Obviously, he'll change a couple of players, but I don't expect him to change 6 or 7 or anything like that. And I'll be very shocked if he does. I think maybe at best he'll put Wan-Bissaka in for Dalot.
Yeah.
Maybe change one of the midfielders to put McTominay in for Fred. And that's probably about it. So
I think they do have a couple of late fitness tests. I think Luke Shaw and somebody else were potentially going to be ruled out, but obviously Malassi is not exactly a bad backup to come in.
It will be pretty much full strength Man United, because their backups in the positions mentioned are pretty much a similar standard player, apart from Malassi to Luke Shaw.
I really hope McTominay plays. That's what I really hope for.
Yeah. So I don't think it's worth thinking about them playing youngsters or anything like that. I think at best, Garnacho will play.
Yeah, I think
Tomine
he's
will
going to
play.
I'll
start.
tell you what, though, he needs
Yeah.
to sort that lid out. I don't know what he's
Yeah.
doing to his hair. His hair and
Yeah.
teeth combo are Jesus Christ.
I would say if there's anyone nailed on for tomorrow, I think McTominay and Fred are nailed on for tomorrow.
Well,
One
apparently
of them.
Fred is the late fitness test as well, so they're the two players potentially you're not going to be out
Garnacho,
with.
I think, is nailed on to play as well. And then the back line, that could really be anything. So, and I do think Wan-Bissaka will be nailed on. So, yeah, we'll see. They do have good depth. But yeah, it's hard to predict, even with us. Like tomorrow's a toss-up for us as well. Like, because we got Brighton on Saturday. We still got the Conference League going, so it'll be interesting to see if we go full strength or not. Me
we
personally,
will get onto that, Lucas.
Yes.
No, don't,
Yes,
don't.
go.
No, whoa, don't be spoiling anything.
Wait.
Excuse me, just yet. Right, we've spent enough time talking about Man United. Let's move on. But hang on, wait. Before we do, if you are new around here, don't forget to drop a like on the video tonight. Subscribe, become a member of the channel. Help support us, the boys. It obviously helps support James as well. And thank you everybody for coming tonight. I think we've got who have we got in the chat, Lucas? We've got Money Squirrel, Jason Smarthammer, Mitch. Snazzy Azzy, Robert Singleton, Cosmos Runner, Simon Scott, Venn, Josh George, who is a member as well, Luca, all these guys. Thank you so much, everybody, for being in here tonight. Your support is welcome.
Snazzy
anyway,
giving us a quick prediction on United's lineup.
We'll save your predictions, boys. Save your predictions because, anyway, before we move on now to the West Ham bit, 2 bits of information today coming out. One, Fabianski looks set to be out for a little while as he has broken his cheekbone and he has broken his eye socket, I believe. So how long that rules him out for, I don't know, but it will probably be 3 to 4 weeks, maybe at least before we see him in a mask or back in training. So for those of you that have wanted Areola to start all season, now you get your wish. Secondly, Scamacca has, unfortunately, or depending on which way you look at it, I know Alfie and Lucas both differ on this, has separated from his sports agency that helped him secure his move to West Ham. So before we go on any further, let's quickly just address this. Lucas, why do you think this is a bad thing for Scamacca? And then Alfie, give him your retort on what, and let us know in the chat as well what you think this means for Scamacca and West Ham.
Well,
is that because he is fed up that his agents put him here and he's not getting the game time, or is this just, are we looking too much into it because of the season that we've had?
I'll say this first because apparently X came out and said that Scamacca is happy at West Ham, but we'll act like he didn't say that and we'll do it for the entertainment value. But at first I was pretty down about the news. It was hard for me not to be negative about it because it does seem like most of the time there's players that come to West Ham that they don't mind being here, but like they don't want to be here. You know what I mean? Like, they don't mind it, but they're not dying to be here. And when I heard that news come out, I was pretty down about it because I think everyone really likes Scamacca, and yeah, the whole agent thing was weird because from reports and even what X put out today, it seems like he was maybe tiptoeing behind his current agency's back. They didn't like that, so they sacked him, and that could have the reason he could have been doing that.
What do you mean by tiptoeing around their back?
Like he was looking for another agency because
right.
Because apparently he really didn't want to leave Italy, and if he wanted to leave Italy, Germany was where he wanted to go. So that was basically a barrel.
I will say to quickly interject, Paul Evans has just said, I think you can pull that up in the chat for me, Lucas. Players, they do change agents all the time. One thing I would say is that unfortunately, because of player power at the moment, a lot of the time when they do change agents, I think as we've seen recently, it's because they want to push for a move away from the club. That's the only thing I think that's concerning to me. If he has been talking behind his back to other agents and stuff, usually that is because they are trying to get a move away from a club. And there has been reports already of, was it at the back end of last year, before he got injured, and in January, that there are clubs in Italy that are still potentially looking to bring him back there. Is that something that concerns you? Because I know this morning you really weren't very bothered about that one.
Me?
Yeah. Is there anybody else called Alfie in here?
I thought I didn't hear my name. I don't know why. I thought, don't get me wrong, I'm not when players change agents, you've always got to see it as a bit of a precaution. You've always got to be a bit worried because any news isn't good news at times. Like if he didn't change agents, this wouldn't be a topic of discussion. But because he has, we're discussing it. However, I do think I've always found his agency to be a bit tin pot. I'm not going to lie. Like they keep tagging me in their posts, and I'm nothing to do with them. So,
And there is nothing more tin pot than tagging West Ham online in Instagram posts.
I think it could be a bad thing, but if X has come out and said that it's not a bad thing, then I think we should trust his word.
Yeah.
I do think the agency is a bit tin pot, and I don't think it's a big story yet. It could be. Keep an eye on it. But at the moment, I think we should relax and just hope that he wants to stay here. And if he doesn't, then he doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think my take on it is, listen, as long as Danny Ings is doing what he did at the weekend, I think the main thing for me, I know I didn't do any videos, obviously, yes, some people in the chat have already been saying father affers and stuff. Obviously, I've been looking after my little boy who's only just been born. But from my point of view, from what I saw at the weekend, Danny Ings offers the runs through the middle that maybe some of the other strikers don't offer us. Antonio constantly, I said this to Lucas, always seems to drift out wide, but whereas Danny Ings, those runs that he makes through the middle, and I think that was sort of paramount to that second goal that he scored, was strikers that know how to score. They always find themselves in the right place in the box. Antonio has not done that for us yet. I think Skamaka may get there with a little bit of training, but I think I'd rather keep hold of Skamaka as someone who probably, I would have hoped before today's news came out, would still want to stay at the club. But go on, Lucas. Sorry, I see you're itching.
It has been tough for him as well. The whole striker situation, I swear, every year just gets more complicated because like Skamaka is he was the number one guy. He's been injured a few times, and then of course right before the transfer or the winter transfer window, Antonio and Skamaka are out, so we are pretty much forced to go find a striker. And then Danny Ings, I would say Danny Ings for the price and who was available, he was probably our best bet. And then, of course, Danny Ings, he got hurt as well. He comes back, scores a brace. So now, again, everything's more complicated. And, again, I'm happy that X came out and said that Skamaka is happy because it just would have been another wrench in everything. So I'm happy that has been resolved.
Quick question before we move on to the next question. Lucas, Alfie, don't mind one word answers. Areola for you, is that a positive thing that he started number one probably now over the next couple of weeks, or are you still on the Fabianski train, or are you both Areola?
Areola in.
Areola for win. Areola want to roll with a geezer. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Sorry, a few things in the chat. I see people coming in as well. I don't have the controls for this. Lucas has the login, so he'll be the one that's pulling all your comments up and stuff like that. When did I start growing my facial hair? When I was about 15, I think, in the end. I think I was very young when I took it. I had a lot of bum fluff on my face. Question for the panel, is Paqueta starting to show he's the next player? We'll go on to that. I do have something lined up for that one. And I've got very bright eyes as well. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. There's a lot of love for me tonight. I don't know if James receives the same sort of love, but there we go. Anyway, next thing I was going to say, by the way, I've got no pre-prepared questions or anything for this. I'm just winging it, as I always do with these things, and I always did on Hammer's Chat. Let's start with you first, Alfie. Is Forest's result, or the game at the weekend against Forest, are we going to look too much into that and say that was a great win, or, how bad were Forest? Because I know probably Forest's best chance of staying up is getting points at home. I think they're a much better side when they are at home. So are we looking too much into that result? And I know we've had a good upturn in form, I think, over the last 5 or 6 games.
We're fifth in the form guide.
Yeah, we're fifth in the form table. So are we looking maybe too much into the weekend's result, or do you actually feel confident ahead of tomorrow's game?
In terms of the table, it's obviously an incredible win for the club. But overall, I think people are looking too much into it. Tomorrow's game will be totally different. Moyes, no matter how good we've been over the last few years, Moyes has always struggled away at the Big Six. He did beat Man United once in the Cup. Lanzini scored. But tomorrow, I expect us to play poorly, to be honest. overall, I think that Forest game, we've actually played like that in a few home games this year. I don't think we've been bad at home at all, really. I think if you actually look at our results and the way we played at home, bar games such as Palace, in which I think we were terrible, I think we played all right. We just haven't finished the chances. We had no... And by the way, that Forest game that we won 4-0 at the weekend, we had a similar amount of chances against Forest away, and people were saying we played poorly there. We played similar in both games. Forest just aren't very good. And we finished our chances this time, which is what a striker like Danny Ings can do to you. I think we are going to stay up. I think we will. And I think that we are starting to improve, definitely. But don't look too much into the 4-0 because we've created chances like that a lot this season, which is why I always bring up XG, and we haven't taken them. It's just the case that we actually did take them this time.
Excuse me. Lucas, papering over the cracks or upturning form? What are you saying?
I think it's hard to say it's an upturn. After it could be. It's like right bang in the middle for me, honestly, because we did put 4 past 4s. They are shit, but I mean, 4 goals against anyone really is pretty positive. But I think it might be paper over the tracks, paper over the cracks, because
papering over the tracks.
Because tomorrow we could see a back 5 again, which I feel like if you ask most of us, we really don't like a back 5, but like if it works, it works, which I'm definitely in that camp. And I fear us playing a back 4 tomorrow because we don't know the lineup we're going to be going up against. And if we do go up against a strong lineup and play a back 4 at Old Trafford, we could get done in. And if we play a back 5, we could maybe hold on a bit and maybe get the extra time or something. But yeah, to be safe, I think it's paper over the cracks just a little bit, not in a negative way, because I do think we can make an upturn. But tomorrow, every week is a test to see if we turn the corner, honestly. And tomorrow will be big because after we just played a back 4 and we banged Forest 4-0. If we play a back 4 against United, I will see that as a positive, but then we got to get on to the match. It's just so many steps to turn the corner for us. So many steps.
Yeah, this is the thing I was going to lead on to. And let us know in the chat, guys, what are you preferring? Are you preferring the back 5, the back 4 that we saw at the weekend? For me, I really liked seeing the back 4 at the weekend because I did think it added a little bit more impetus to us going forward. And I know we were playing against Forest, and obviously you can probably afford to sort of do that. And we saw Souček in a bit more of a further forward role than we saw Paqueta. Paqueta dropping back to the number 8 seems to have really helped him in the last few weeks. Souček is even, I'm not going to say a player reborn because I don't want to offend Mitch, but he's certainly looked a lot better in the last few weeks, having been able to be pushed forward a bit more. And, you know, we're not relying on his sort of, I'd say, terribleness in the centre of midfield. But what do you reckon, West Ham Online? Is it back 4 for you, or are you sticking for you? I say back 5 because I know we discussed this with people and we say it's not a technical back 5, if you will, but it's a back 5 in defence, but going forward, having the more creative players, I guess, to join in with the attack. What are you saying for that? What formation are you looking to go with?
I think we've performed better in the back 3/5 than the 4 this season, definitely. But in games such as home games against the Forests, the Palaces, even the Brightons, teams like that, I'd like to see the back 4 because I'd like us to show that we have the players to take games to teams, and I think we do. I think our midfield too, in Paqueta and Rice, and as you mentioned with Paqueta, has been so good lately in that role. Were really, really good against Forest. I thought both of them were excellent, and I think that needs to continue. However, in away games such as this one, a tough game, I think we'll go with a 3, but certainly not the 2 up front version of it that we displayed at Spurs. I absolutely can't stand that formation. The 3-4-3 I like, not that crap. So it's about alternating. Well, I would like us to stick with the formation at some point, but whilst we're struggling a little bit, sort of alternate and just see what works.
Do you know what? I'm going with the majority of the chat here, and I'm doing that simply because I think that the weekend was such a positive result.
Yeah.
I do not mind, and I know this is going to be controversial, and this is my next question after this. I know it's controversial, but I'd rather see a positive outlook and get smashed 4 or 5-0 than sitting back for 90 minutes, potentially just allowing pressure to come onto us. We look really bad on the counter attack and then end up conceding the same amount of goals. I think at the weekend, we actually went for it with a back four. I think the players themselves, they seem to have worked better in that system together. So for me, I think back four for me. I'm trying to be positive, and I think that the positive result of the weekend, I want to try and carry that momentum over. And look, if we lose, we lose. Man United are in a great run of form at the moment, but at least we would have tried to make a go of it.
I actually agree. When we've played against these top 6 teams under Moyes, we have been flipping shocking. Like, our record is genuinely awful.
Yeah.
And the game plan has worked at times in the sense that we've kept it tight, but we've always lost 1-0 or we've drawn. Why not? It's been proven it doesn't work. It shows it doesn't work. So why not, whenever we play these big 6 games, just take it to them? We'll probably get smacked on the odd occasion, but I reckon we'll end up with more points overall than we would have in them 60 games or whatever we played.
It makes me cringe a little bit thinking about the back four because of defeat, but when you look at it in the broader standpoint, this is a free hit for us because, let's be honest, we're still in a relegation battle. Do we really need to be in 2 cup competitions with our relegation battle? Probably not. It's not what's best for us. But, of course, we want to try and get as far as we can because we haven't seen a trophy in God knows how long.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Second longest in Newcastle. God bless him on the weekends.
Took the words out of my mouth, Lucas, because that's where I was going next. Again, we'll go to the chat in a second for their opinion as well. And quickly, whilst I say, Lucas, apparently, according to Money Squirrel, you are looking very cute tonight, but when do you not?
Thank you.
Alfred? I nearly called you Alfred.
And someone asked me about being Canadian. Not Canadian, sadly.
That's it, yeah. Favorite colour for you, Alfred?
Blue.
Okay, and my favourite holiday destination would probably is a different one. I would say Malta.
That's a good question.
Malta.
Sexuality unknown,
but always consensual.
Yes.
So, yes, that's the next question I have for you chaps. With the current position in the league, it comes up every single year. Do you want to see a cup run, or do you want to stay with the league? For me, I was always about sort of staying in the league with the money and stuff like that. But when we're having bad seasons like this, I really want us to sort of push for a cup, whether that be this one or the main one, which will obviously, if we do stay up, help us get back into the Europa League. And I think is our only chance, unless we win the FA Cup, of actually getting into Europe again. I want to see
We've
a
got
cup
to win
run.
the conference, Tom. I think the FA. If I'm being honest, I really wouldn't care too much if we lose tomorrow, apart from the uproar that will happen on Twitter. I genuinely think the FA Cup is not the biggest thing to focus on this year. In the Conference League, we've got a trophy which, for the first time since we're in the Championship, we have a very good chance of winning. The teams are not very good, and I'll actually be quite disappointed if we don't make it to the final. I think
the toughest teams that are in that still are Lazio and Nice.
Yeah, and they're not that good. Let's be honest, none of them are that good. We've got to stay in the league. But when we're playing teams like that, team in Cyprus, if we can get the game done in the first leg, we can rest players and stuff like that. Because let's face it, they're no better than the team we played in that qualifying round.
Yeah.
So I think we can sort of go strong in the cup because, as I just mentioned, we should be able to rest players in the conference. But it's the least of our worries at the moment.
Cyprus has got to be at minimum a 4-0 victory.
Let's not focus more on the FA Cup. I guess, yes, obviously we all know that the Conference League is massive for us, but in terms of the FA Cup, is that one you want to stay in as well, Lucas? Are we all for all of the cups and just take a 13th, 14th finish, but at least attempt to win a cup? Or
I mean, the competitor in me wants to stay in as many cups as possible, but I think being realistic, like I said before, being in 2 cup competitions while fighting relegation, it's probably not best for us, regardless of what I think. So, I think if we were to drop out of one, I wouldn't mind dropping out of the FA Cup. just because in terms of rest in days, it makes a bit more sense. But either or would do for me. Same result, same achievement. But yeah, if I were to drop out of one, it'd probably be the FA Cup.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in agreement with you boys. Even though I do want to see us go far in the FA Cup. I think Conference League for us is probably, as I said, our best shot of actually winning it. I think we've got more chance of getting through to the
I
final.
will say though, if we won the Conference League, don't get me wrong, I'd be absolutely elated. But if we win the FA Cup, for me, it's a different level because we know how hard that is. This Conference League, we should be getting to the semi-final at least.
Yeah.
And if we win it, we can. You know, the best thing about winning this is we could laugh at Tottenham for not winning a trophy in years, and we could say we won a Conference League.
And I don't care if people think it's a Mickey Mouse Cup. That's more exposure for us.
It still
never
counts.
Hurts. Yeah.
Do you know what my favourite thing is? And it's a good job that you mentioned Tottenham. Is my favourite stat I read on Twitter today is that Christian Eriksen left Tottenham. He died. He came back to England for 2 years, and he still won a trophy before Harry Kane.
Yeah.
So let that one sink in.
And remember, they were in it last year. So
yeah.
Didn't
Anything's
win it,
possible. No, they didn't. But anyway, moving on to tomorrow, in terms of teams and stuff, I was not pre-prepared today, so I don't have the graphics that usually pop up like James does, and I didn't ask Lucas, so we'll blame me tonight on that one. That's my fault. But Lucas, let's start with you. What kind of a team are you going for tomorrow's game? Are you resting ahead of the weekend? Are you bringing players in, or are we looking at a similar sort of 11 as to what we saw against Forest?
If I was a manager, I'd go half and half personally. So the way I look at it, do you want me to give you like a makeshift lineup or just tell you which players I want to be nailed on for tomorrow?
I'm not doing a very good hosting job here. Sorry, I apologise. I'm in the middle of eating McDonald's chips. I want just start from the back and go forward. Give me
Actually, hold on.
your lineup.
I'll give you players that I want to see nailed on for tomorrow, at least.
Okay.
And like I said, I'd like to see a bit of a 50-50 split between players that are normally nailed on and then some of our depth options. So for me,
but do remember, and I will say this quickly.
Okay.
The other year when we played Man United in the Cup was an absolute confidence killer for some of our young players, and we've never seen them since. So be careful with which younger players that you may or may not choose.
We need to see Declan Rice tomorrow because, I mean, he wants to play every match. So him playing Wednesday and Saturday, that's not really going to affect him. Unless he's sick. Because for some reason, whenever he's sick, he obviously doesn't play too well. But Declan Rice, I think Paqueta should be nailed on tomorrow as well. I really do. I want to see him play. And then in Areola. So anyone, it's so tough. It's so tough to think of who I think's nailed on. But Areola, Rice, and Paqueta. That's who I want to see play tomorrow at least. And then everything else can be up for debate really. And then Alfie, who do you?
No,
do you think
Alfie, dude, don't you jump in there, Alfie. I'm giving mine next.
Oh.
I'm putting my foot down. I'm gonna say, for me personally, I think back four is the main thing. I think Areola, obviously, we don't have a backup now, so because obviously no more David Martin and Darren Randolph, so Areola is tomorrow. I think for me, Soufal has looked a lot better again in recent weeks. Whether or not that's the change to the back four and the type of person they'll play him, but all of a sudden he seems to have found how to cross a football again, which is really good. I would go Agard. I think he's to coin Fever's phrases. He's the dog's bullocks. We'll go with that. Probably stick with Ogbonna. I thought he had a decent game again at the weekend. Kufal apparently is injured. I did not do my research. So in that case, Ben Johnson, I would say, at right back. Left back, Cresswell. My God, the shakiest 10 minutes I've seen from him ever when he came on the other day. So if Emerson's fit, then obviously we'll go with Emerson. I think Rice, Paqueta together in the middle. Paqueta is the 8. Souček maybe playing a little bit further forward, but not as much license to go forward as he did against Forest. Bowen had an amazing game the other day. I'd probably play Danny Ings up top, and then Ben Rama again, obviously 2 assists, but may or may not have had the best game the other day, if you ask some people. So,
Agreed.
but I would sort of stick pretty much unchanged to the other day, except for one or two people. Bonner 3 games in a week. Problem is for me, who is fit enough? Zuma, we can't rush back. Ings is cup tied. You see, these are the things. This is why you're here. Listen, Scott. I'd rather be open to it. I'd rather be honest that I've had a mare. Okay, so we'll scrap all of that. We'll scrap all of that. We'll play Antonio through the middle, and I would.
Not Skamaka.
But is he fit? That's the question. Is he fit?
Oh, don't know.
Kera, would you realistically play Kera? Is our upturn in form because Kera's not exactly been in the starting 11
I thought he was good in the back three. I've got to be honest.
But in a back four, can we trust him as a centre back?
No, not in the back four.
And then these are the questions we will always have. So I'll
After
tell you
what
what.
I
Instead
saw
of
from
pointing
Cresswell-
fingers at me, Scott, let me point a finger at you. Who is in your starting 11 this weekend? That goes for the rest of the chat as well. Alfie, take it away. Who are you having starting at the weekend? At the weekend. Scott, you've ruined it for me. Well done, Scott. You flustered me.
Hi everyone, it's me, West Ham Line. My team would be Areola. I'd play the back three, 3-4-3. I'd have Tilo Kehrer, RCB. I would have Ben Johnson, left centre back, and I don't really rate him, but I'd have him anyway. Middle centre back, Naif Aged. Resting the 49-year-old Angelo Bonner. Left wing back, I would have Emerson. In the middle, I would have Paqueta. No, I'd have Rice and Soucek, rest Paqueta. Right wing back, I'd have Soufal. Front three of Jared Bowen. Man like Pablo Fornals. And my brother, Mikel Antonio.
Definitely your brother. I'm sorry, by the way, if you can hear my child screaming. It's currently feed time. And his mother is sorting that one out because I'm in here tonight.
Oh, yeah, I forgot Downs. Yeah, maybe Downs for Soucek.
Downs is. I was about to say there's a couple of fringe players that maybe are on the sort of let's use the word precipice of coming into contention. I say Fornals. Downs.
Oh, Soufal's injured. Never mind. I play Ben Johnson right wing back and Aaron Creswell left centre back.
Yeah, you see, Alfie, we both made that mistake because I corrected myself because they said that he was injured, and then you went and put him in your team. So it's not just me that got flustered, Scott.
Yeah.
Then it's Alfie.
Sorry, it's complicated trying to name 11. It's complicated.
Listen, without having the things that James usually puts up for people's starting 11s, it's throwing me off a bit. But yeah, so the three names I think the contention. Obviously, Moyes loves to play Lanzini in European games and in sort of FA Cup games. Fornals similar with that as well. And then also Flynn Downs, who again I probably wouldn't be adverse to seeing. I know, Scott, you're going to disagree with everything because of Fornals playing on the wing. We will leave that debate. This is not one for today. Not one for today. But yeah, give me a score prediction, chaps. What are we saying tomorrow? Are we positive? I don't know. Is it going straight to extra time tomorrow night, or is there replays?
Am I giving my lineup or no?
I thought you gave your lineup.
No, I didn't give a lineup.
Well, Luke, look at see. This is all Scott Ben's fault.
God, you're having a mare here. Now,
listen,
it's not like I really know anyway. It's just going to be
you damn American.
Mosh. Oh, it's just tough because again, I actually was calling for Lanzini at halftime last match, and I thought he would have been brilliant to bring on in the situation we were in. But for me tomorrow, I'm gonna go with what I think. Actually, I'll give both. This is what I think we'll see. I think we'll see. Until Moyes proves to me that he has some confidence, I think we will go back 5, back 3 tomorrow. And I think what he'll do, Areola, and then he'll go Kerr, Agard, Cresswell, Johnson at right wing back, Emerson left wing back, and then he'll go Rice, Paqueta, Fornals left wing. I think he will play Skamaka tomorrow up top, and then Bowen on the right wing. But what I would like to see this tomorrow. Back 4. Ariel in goal. Oh, goodness gracious sakes alive. Oh, this is so gross, man. Johnson right back, Kerr center half, Aguerd left center half. Oh, I have to say Cresswell because I really I can't see Emerson playing just left back. Oh, but you know what? Screw it. Emerson left back, and then it'd be like a 4-2-3-1. I mean, you could put 4-3-3. I really don't care. Then I would like to see Rice and Downs, and then Fornals, Paqueta, Bowen, Skamaka.
Well, listen, I think the best thing that we've all done is that we've all chosen different teams, which I guess is a good place to be in.
But the thing is there's a lot of room for edit that I wouldn't mind. Like I wouldn't hate Lanzini playing. I wouldn't hate to see Downs playing. I really wouldn't hate. I would love to see Cornet play because
I'd love to see him get.
He's still a ghost until I see him on the pitch. He's the club ghost until he steps on the pitch again.
Do you know what I think? I think I'd like to see. And I think we were a little bit stuck when Paqueta was playing as a 10 and Souček was playing in midfield. But I think now we've dropped Paqueta back as an 8 with Rice. I think you can interchange some of those pieces like a Lanzini, like a Fornals, Benrahma, those guys.
Because the link-up play between any of Lanzini or Fornals with Paqueta and Rice is going to be unbelievable.
It's going to be a chef's kiss. Is that right, Scott?
It's going to be Paqueta and Rice.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, we've started to really see the best out of Paqueta over the last couple of weeks. So hopefully long may that continue. But yeah, score predictions for tomorrow. Chat, Lucas, Alfie.
2-0 loss.
After all of that.
Yeah.
2-0 loss. Bang. Lucas?
I'm gonna go 2-2, including extra time. Cheeky Desmond, including extra time, and we go through on pens. Which is a bold shout because Areola is absolutely dog.
Do you know?
That won't happen. Not a chance. Jesus.
Do you know? I was just thinking to myself, I think this is not a correct stat. I think Areola has probably played more games against Man United over the last couple of years for us than any other team. That probably just shows you how many times we played them in the cup. It feels like.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what? I'm going to be positive tomorrow. Paul Evans in the chat saying that Skulls and Mabama. I think Ollie Skulls is injured. I only say that because I did watch the game, the FA Youth Cup, and I watched extra time in that game. And he did seem to get a pretty nasty injury to his ankle, and he was actually crying. What a little bitch, am I right? So I'm joking, but I'm not sure if he'd be fit enough. But yeah, obviously, probably maybe we see a couple of youngsters on the bench. But in these kind of games, I really don't want them because poor Odebeko was thrown to the wolves in that game, and he has never been seen in a West Ham shirt again.
We have to send him out to Port Vale.
No, never mind.
I'm weirdly positive for tomorrow. I don't know why.
I am as well, Tom. I said this to my United mates, and I've been saying it to others. When I wanted United to beat Barcelona because I thought that would be good for us, and now that they just won a cup, I think there will be a hangover tomorrow. I really think there will be. Even though I did see Marcus Rashford tweet, "Oh, we got another trophy on our mind. Job's not done. Yada yada yada. Blah blah blah." Like I do think it's just natural in sports. There will be a hangover, and I don't think they're going to be tip top. And that's where we need to come in and do damage.
I think. Do you know? I think. FUDGFH. Listen, buddy. Fair play. You do you, mate.
Congrats on the kisses, my guy.
Yeah, listen. That's 3 more men than me. So well played.
Congrats, mate. Congrats, buddy.
Listen, I think, and I say I think this mindset under Eric Ten Hag is a different mindset that United have had. And I think if any Man United team since Sir Alex would be up for this kind of game and be like turned around onto the next game, it would be this Man United side. So that's the only thing that's bothering me a little bit. But saying that, there is still that hangover potentially that can come after winning a trophy. They have had a tough couple of games against Barcelona, obviously, but the form is a massive thing because of how well they're playing at the moment. But I think there's no pressure tomorrow because if we lose, so be it. But at least go out there and actually just try and put in a positive performance.
There's a few key spots for tomorrow, and I think if United play a weak midfield, like I'm predicting they will, I think there's definitely a great chance at what we can do. Because, like I said, I'm predicting McTominay. I think it's going to be McTominay, Casemiro, and Bruno. Bruno could easily play as well, just like Casemiro. Those are two players that'll play 4 games in a week if they have to. So, but again, it's so tough to predict.
As again, there as Trini Hammer said, I was going to say they do have Liverpool in their next match. So
what is that on Saturday?
I think so. Yeah. So this
Saturday
is
or Sunday.
Yeah. This is the. I think if there's a time to play Man United, not that there is a good time at the moment, but I think in the midst of the run that they're currently having, and as Scott said, 3 games in 7 days. This is wow. That's the first time we've said that all season. Yeah, I think this is possibly the best time that we're going to get to play United. But listen, I've been to United so many times over the last few years, and I never see us win. I have a 0% winning record at United over the last few years. So thankfully, I'm not going tomorrow, which should give us a positive.
Went to United away this season. It was It was a great trip. Manchester, lovely city. I didn't enjoy the match, obviously, but
I was only in Manchester for a few hours. I only went to the stadium and left.
You two are lucky because I've seen us about 5 or 6 times, I think, over the last few years. And yeah, every time, I think the first game I had was when we scored, and I think Kevin Nolan was deemed to be offside, and it would have been 2-2, but they beat us 2-1, and then it just kind of went downhill from there. Same as when I went to Newcastle. Always the same in Newcastle.
I've never
see us win. So yes,
Money Squirrel, my friend made my logo.
There you go. They made Alfie's logo. Anyway, last question before we wrap things up. And I don't want to go on to it too much because obviously that is next weekend. But Lucas, if you could just be getting people's score predictions up, if they have already chucked them in, I don't know. I've should been paying attention probably to that one.
I chucked them in.
That was last year, by the way, Scott. That Good win. Last year in the Carabao, I think, wasn't it? Lanzini scored and we won 1-0.
Yeah, that was the one I probably didn't go to. The game against Brighton at the weekend. Thoughts really quickly on that, because can we? Is this a curse that we can finally beat? I don't know the scores this evening. In the
Evan
FA
Ferguson has
playing.
Indeed scored again.
Yeah. Okay. What are we saying then? Is this a must win against Brighton at the weekend? This is
no.
Well, hang on, Alfie, hang on. Let me finish. I've started my question, so I have to finish. The flip side to it is if we do rotate the squad and we sort of say let's just whatever happens, what will be que sera with this game. The other side of it, people are going to say let's forget about the cup and focus because we need to secure our place in the league. How confident are you for Brighton if we do that, or is it let's focus on the cup, beat them, then we worry about Brighton? I know we've already sort of said that we'd all kind of like a cut run, but are we putting all of our eggs like we did last year and backfiring with the Europa League by doing the same this year with the Conference League, or
no?
Are we need to beat Brighton?
I don't think we need. I personally don't think we need to beat Brighton. I think it's a difficult game. If we get a point, it's a good point.
Sorry, Snazzy. I was trying to land. I couldn't land. He wasn't letting me land. Well, I did it. There we go. Go on. Sorry, Alfie.
Sorry, Snaz. Yeah, I think a point would be ideal. And I don't, as I mentioned earlier, I don't think it'll be like the Europa League where we have to throw everything in the bin in the league this year. 1, because we can't do that because we need to stay up. 2, because the level of opponent in the Conference League is considerably worse than the Europa League, and we are playing against a few farmers at the moment. Long may that continue, but yeah.
Lucas, Brighton must win, or let's just see what happens. Are we at that stage yet where every kind of game like this is a must win, or is it just whatever happens?
This is a match, in my opinion, we should be looking to try and win, even though Brighton, they're in form. They're a solid side. Obviously, on paper, I think we look better than them, but that really doesn't matter. But yeah, we need some sort of evidence that we've turned a corner, in my opinion. And while some people think playing a back four and winning 4-0 against Forest is a good step, I think it's a half a step. I think if we go to Brighton, which we haven't beaten them yet. We haven't beaten them there. If we go in there on Saturday and we win, that would actually be a great step for us. We could maybe say we turned a corner. Yes, that could be season changing because that's just a feat that we have not seen before, and I think that would really boost morale around the dressing room. So for me, I do think that's a match we should try to go in and win. If we got a draw, I wouldn't be mad personally. But yeah, I think any side that isn't a big six or even a little outside, we should be looking to just pick up points. So again, I won't mind a point against Brighton just off recent form and history, but on paper we should be able to compete with them and try and pick up 3 points.
Well, listen, I'm going to side with the chat, and a couple of people have said, I think tomorrow's a massive game. I think if we can somehow carry that confidence through, it will help us no end against Brighton. However, I still think we're going to come up short against Brighton because that De Zerbi, I think, is going to have a few contract offers other than Brighton. And dare I say, he's actually got them playing some better football than what Graham Potter did when he was at Brighton. And that was a tough ask for how well he did with them. So, yes. Anyway, I'm saying, because I didn't give my score prediction, I'm going to say... dare I say 3-2 to us, but then again, we don't score many goals. This weekend was a bit of an anomaly. I know. Do you know what? I'm going to say 3-2. I'm going to be positive. I'm never positive, or I haven't been this season. So we're going to go 3-2 from me. Lucas, you are extra time penalty win. And Alfie, you're saying 2-0 Man United.
Cheeky Desmond to go into pens.
Okay. And Alfie is the negative one here, who's going with 2-0 Man United win. Well,
he just wants to look back and say, "Oh, I was right."
That's something Alfie would do. Anyway, thank you so much to both of the guys for joining me tonight. Obviously, James not being here, but he has trusted us, his loyal servants, to do his bidding on this stream. So hopefully, for those in the chat that have been in here tonight, you haven't minded the replacement host too much.
Tune in tomorrow for the post-match and the ratings and whatever else is occurring.
Your regular people will be back or Feed will be back to host and stuff tomorrow. But yes, thank you so much, everybody in the chat. If you haven't, make sure you drop a like on the video, subscribe, become a member if you so want to. Really helps out, obviously, the channel grow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And from me, from Lucas, from Alfie, I will let Lucas roll the outro, but we will see you all after the game tomorrow night.
Roll that shit.
Peace.
There it is.
Subscribe to E20.
I've never found a love like this.
Become a member now.